a woman named, I'm blanking on her first name, it's Saul Omarova.
Okay.
And Saul Omarova is a Cornell law professor who once wrote, just a year or two ago, like a 60-page paper entitled the Democratic Ledger, if I'm or the People's Ledger. It's called the People's Ledger.
Was it about Bitcoin?
It was about CBDCs.
I know that. I mean, I knew you were going to say that. I'm making the joke because Bitcoin is the people's ledger.
Bitcoin.
I mean,
so yes. Well, her view is, and she uses the term "peoples" in the way that we talk about the People's Republic of China peoples. She is a graduate of Moscow State University back when it was part of the Soviet Union.
Great, she's a communist.
So she literally wrote this paper saying the virtue of a CBDC is that we can use it to wipe out the private banking system. One doesn't need a private place to deposit to have a checking account or a savings account if you have a CBDC run by the Federal Reserve, because everyone would have their bank account at the Fed, and that would enable the Fed to deposit money in your account if they wanted to, or take money out of your account if they wanted to.
Which sounds like a big step towards communism, well, certainly socialism.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, if people in the U.S. don't like single-payer healthcare or state-run healthcare British style, well, wait until you have a British-style banking system. I mean, not British style, but like a Soviet-style banking system, right?
Yeah.
Where you have an NHS, but it's the banking system.
Yeah,
where,
it sounds horrendous.
Yeah, and she talks about this as a good thing. She's like, well, if we had a CBDC, we could take money into your account, we could take money out. We could short stocks that we thought were overvalued. We could use the money to invest in green infrastructure, which is Congress's job, not the Federal Reserve's job. But because, of course, the Fed can print money, imagine if you basically didn't need Congress anymore. The Fed controlled the dollar, could print another $1 trillion to spend on whatever it wanted. That's the world that she's envisioning, and that is the world that a CBDC would enable. Now, when I talk to people in Washington, I was just there last week, kind of walking them through these problems. Some of them would say, well, we don't have to have a CBDC like that. We could have like basically a CBDC light where it's only a way for banks and the Fed to interact with each other. It's just sort of a fancier version of FedWire, the wire transfer system that the Federal Reserve uses, and it's restricted from any sort of interfacing with average people.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, like once you actually go through the trouble of creating a CBDC, which is actually the hard part, it's very easy to just flip a switch and say we're going to use this for a lot of these broader and more ambitious purposes that isn't used for now. So one thing that I'm spending a lot of time on in my writing, in my policy work, is this topic, because people just aren't aware, particularly in Washington, and I think some in the crypto community, some very significant figures in the crypto community, are not aware of how dangerous it would be if the Federal Reserve controlled every bank account in America, not only what money was in it and what money was not in it, but they could have visibility to every single one of your financial transactions. They could turn you off if they wanted to.
Automatically fine you.
Yeah, I mean, one of the points I make in an article that is coming out.